What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Fast Break Tundra Baller. And today we are back. I wasn't here last week and I was gone for one reason. I was in Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League. So sorry, no Fast Break Tundra Baller last week, but we are back and I have a lot of fun stuff to tell you guys. So if you don't know me already, I am Mario Duenas, aka Tundra Baller, like in the title, Fast Break Tundra Baller. And I was in the Summer League last week in Las Vegas. It was really, really fun. And let's just get things started. And I am part of the Swell. I am a very, very big Clipper fan, maybe the biggest Clipper fan you know. So I went to the Summer League last week for the first 4 days in Las Vegas. And before I tell you guys all of this, I was planning on going to Vegas for the Summer League ever since the Clippers got the fifth pick in the lottery last May so I could cover whoever it was, which is Keenan Wagler, and the other top picks in this year's draft. And because I am trying to be a reporter for the Clippers, a journalist for the Clippers, and that's what I'm in school for. I'm in my third year, which is kind of weird to say, already third year at Cal State Fullerton. Well, I'm going to start my third year next month in August. But a few days before the draft, last June, the Clippers sent an email to the top Swell members. And if you don't know what the Swell is, it is the people that do the crazy distractions at Clipper games. So I am in my third year at Cal State Fullerton, which is kind of weird to say because I start in August at Cal State Fullerton my junior year. So I'm trying to be a reporter for the Clippers. That is the goal. That is why I wanted to go to Vegas either way. But there was a secret mission for the Swell around a few days before the draft. And they were asking for people's availability on July 9th and 10th. I instantly knew that this was going to be something about the Summer League because the Summer League starts on the 9th. So a week before the Summer League started, and I did say that I am available. And, and I already knew that it was going to be a Summer League. So I was already like planning on like the hotel expenses and planning on driving over there and all that and buying tickets for myself. But they shared the details about it, and they were taking us to the first day of Summer League for free on a charter bus, providing us with food, like lunch and dinner, the ticket to the first Clipper game against the Kings and Darius Jacob Jr. We unfortunately lost, but more of that in a little bit, and a one-night stay at the Palms Hotel in Las Vegas. This was an amazing experience. This was a great opportunity because I was already going to the first 4 days of the Summer League either way. And this saved me a day's worth of tickets and hotel expenses. I went to Las Vegas on the bus with a Swell, but I stayed behind so I could cover the next 3 days. I was with other people. My parents wanted to come also because they wanted to come as a little vacation. They didn't go to the games with me, but they wanted to, go to Vegas as a little vacation. But although this could have been a vacation, for me, this is kind of like a work vacation. Although I'm not getting paid on TikTok, by the way, Tundra underscore baller underscore zero. Make sure you guys follow there. And thank you guys for 1,000 followers. I really appreciate that, guys. But yeah, it was kind of like a work trip, although I wasn't getting paid or I don't have my media credentials. That is the goal also. But yeah, it was a really amazing experience. When we got to the arena, they had our own VIP room for us, our own private room with a lot of great food. Not just like the normal food like chicken tenders and fries or like a cheeseburger or just fries and hot dogs, all of that. It was like a lot of stuff, like chicken, steak, a lot of stuff. So it was just amazing food, just a lot of luxury food, pretty much. A VIP food. It's like the VIP lounge at Intuit Dome. It was a really amazing experience. And when it was game time, which was the last game of the day, the arena made way for all of us Clipper fans for the first game against the Kings. And we were sitting right behind the Clippers bench. And we were doing our chants on the way to our seats. I remember I was recording the whole thing, walking from the VIP room to our seats, and people were literally recording us like literally. And it was kind of funny. And people were even talking trash to us, which is pretty funny. They were talking about us. And when we were at our seats, I saw later on the game was on ESPN, and they were literally showing us, like, look at this, guys. The Clippers, they brought their own fans. They said from the wall. Yeah, sure, we are from the wall, but we are called the Swell. We went to the hotel room afterwards. It was at Palms Hotel, really, really nice hotel. My room was definitely some sort of a luxury room, and thank you for the Clippers for this amazing opportunity. The owner, Steve Ballmer, he is the absolute best. I never heard of any other owner in sports doing this for their fans. Yeah, and now we're going to be talking about the Summer League, guys. So we have 12 players on this roster. Two returners, Kobe Sanders and Cam Christie. The draft picks, of course, are three draft picks. Keenan Wagler at number 5, Bubba Miller at number 36, and Nick Martinelli at number 55. Our two-way players from last year, so they are returners technically. Norchad Omier and Sean Padula. Ty Washington, who did finish off a year with the Clippers as a two-way player. He is now with a Magic Summer League team. And I also ran into him during that game. Pretty cool. So we have two G League players. Jamil Telfer, he was on a two-way last year, but he got cut. But he stayed on the G League team. And Zach Freemantle. So this is his second year. And three undrafted rookies, two guys from UCF, Riley Kugel and Femus Folks, and from Purdue, who is the all-time leader in three-pointers made in Purdue history, Fletcher Lawyer. I really like this guy. This guy is pretty good. I like him as a Clipper. So for our first game against the Kings, when all of us in the Swell were there, it was the first game against Darius Acuff Jr., the seventh pick. The Clippers probably would have gotten Acuff if it wasn't for Keenan Wagler, but the Clippers, they had a good start. They were up 9 in the first half, but they lost the lead at halftime, and they were down by 3 at half, 44-41. And then the Clippers, they were kind of struggling in the second half. They were down double digits, but they were coming back in the fourth quarter a little bit from a 14-point lead, a 5-point lead with less than 2 minutes, but the Clippers fell short 91-85. Kobe Sanders, he had 10 points on 3 for 10 shooting. Cam Christie, 15 points, leading scorer for the Clippers, 3 for 7 shooting. Kean Wagler, he was struggling this game. It wasn't the best first game for him. 1 for 7 shooting with 7 points. Nick Martinelli, though, 11 points. And Baba Miller, 12 points. So for the other two rookies, they scored pretty good numbers in our first Summer League game. And Darius Acuff Jr., he was 6 for 20, but he had 19 points. So the Clippers, after watching this game, they had a lot of solid defense throughout the game. But many times during the game that they were struggling to score, which was sometimes like showing like the actual Clippers during the last season. They would have stretches of not being able to score. And Keenan Wagler, he got a lot of hate after the first game. Top draft picks, I'm not worried. It could be concerning that he had a bad game, but I wasn't worried. Wemby, he had a bad game, and people were already calling him a bust. Lonzo, they were calling him a bust, and a lot of guys too. Like Jalen Brunson, he had a bad summer league. But in the next game against the Jazz, so I was at the first two Clipper games for the summer league. So my first game that I watched in the summer league, I was I was watching the Clippers and Kings. And then my last game was the Clippers and Jazz. So pretty much besides the Clippers, I watched all of the top 8 picks at least once. And then I covered some other guys like Yuki Kawamura, Xavier Lee, and Marquise Noel. So I covered a total of 11 players. So and this was a successful trip, pretty much. A lot of my videos there, it was doing pretty good. So thank you guys for all the support, by the way. So the Clippers, they had a much better game compared to the first game against the Jazz and the second pick, Darren Pearson. So I was at this game, It was a close game in the first half with the Clippers up 2, 48-38. Peterson was looking good with 12 points on 4 for 10 shooting. He even had a big poster minutes into the game. Keenan Wagler, he was looking like the same player for the last game also, missing shots and turning over a ball. Things weren't looking good. He had 3 points on 1 for 7 shooting in the first half with 3 turnovers. However, I really like this. Keenan Wagler, he went off in the third quarter, scoring 18 points in 5 for 8 shooting and making 3 of 4 shots from 3. With that, the Clippers outscored the Jazz 42-18. So, Keenan Wagler, he had as many points as the Jazz in that quarter. And the Clippers had 0 turnovers in that quarter to have a 26-point lead. So, huge jump. And the Clippers, they finished the game winning by a lot, 104-82. Keenan Wagler, 23 points, 6 for 15 shooting. The 36 pick, Baba Miller, 15 points, 5 for 7 shooting. And Nick Martinelli, the 55th pick, 14 points, 7 for 11 shooting. And Darren Pearson for the Jazz ties the leading scorer with Keenan Wagler, 23 points on 6 for 18 shooting. This was a great win by the Clippers, especially for Keenan Wagler, a great game. Even though the first half was bad, he redeemed himself in the second half. It's not how you start, it's how you finish with shooters like him. Better draft picks, Baba Miller and Nick Martinelli, they play great also. And throughout this whole summer league, they're playing good also. And Baba Miller, he recently signed a 4-year, $9 million deal with a team. So he should be used during the season at some point, despite being the 36th pick this year. I don't know if he'll get minutes, but if he gets minutes, I would love to see what's next for him. So the next game was the Clippers and Lakers. Cam Christie, he did not play in this game due to an ankle injury. We don't know how bad this ankle injury is. I just saw the report, but this game was pretty bad for the Clippers. It was kind of like the first game against the Kings, but maybe even worse. Wagler, he turned over a ball right after the opening tip when he was getting pressure from the defense and lost the ball, which led to an 8-second violation. However, this was his only turnover, though, for the whole game. But he was 1 for 7 from the field again in the first half, like last time against the Jazz, only making a layup, though, instead of a 3 in the first half. And the Clippers were already down by 16 at halftime, 54-38. Wagler did have a second half, though, a better second half, scoring 14 points on 5 for 8 shooting. He was looking a lot better with mid ranges, threes, and even had an and one. The Clippers lost by 14, 99-85. You know, of course, we don't want to lose against the Lakers, but it's only summer league. Like, who cares? So the Lakers, they were led by their first round pick, Cameron Carr. He was looking good, even better than Wagler at times. He had 23 points. So Kobe Sanders, he led the Clippers with 18 points. Wagler had 16, and Martinelli, he had 11 points. So the next day, the Clippers played against the Wizards, and Keenan Wagler did not play due to rest. And the first pick, AJ Debanza for the Wizards, did not play in this game. He shut down for the rest of the summer league, and Cam Christie is still out with this ankle injury. This might have been the best game for the Clippers as a whole team. They beat the Wizards 108-94. I know it's without AJ Debanza, but it was still a great win for the Clippers. 6 Clippers scored in double figures. Norchad Omier, 11 points. Baba Miller and Fletcher Lawyer, 12 points each. Sean Padula, all around numbers. I thought he would have gotten the triple double if he gotten more of those rebounds, but he had 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists. Nick Martinelli, 19 points on 8 for 9 shooting, making his first 6 shots of the game before missing one. And then Kobe Sanders, leading scorer of the game, 26 points. I really like that number, 26, on 9 for 17 shooting. The Clippers play their last Summer League game tonight, so pretty much a few hours away when I'm recording this, at 8 p.m. against the Minnesota Timberwolves on ESPN. This is a consolation game since the Clippers didn't make it to the playoffs because only the top 4 make it to the playoffs out of all the 30 teams playing. So the last thing that we're going to talk about today, this is a really big topic that we have to talk about since this is about the Clippers. And with a recent trade, Kawhi Leonard. I'm pretty sure you guys heard about this already, but let me give you guys pretty much a short summary of what is happening right now. So, 2 weeks ago, the Clippers agreed to trade Kawhi Leonard back to the Raptors, where he won a championship right before he joined the Clippers in 2019, for Grady Dick, Brandon Ingram, two first round picks, a first round pick swap, and two second round picks. Ever since September of last year, there were these allegations going on with the Clippers and Kawhi because of this guy, Pablo Torre, has claimed that Kawhi Leonard and Steve Ballmer were circumventing the salary cap for allegedly Kawhi having a $28 million endorsement deal, a no-show endorsement deal, gained $28 million under the table, a 4-year contract, $28 million, $7 million a year, under the table with a company called Aspiration. And this company is pretty much bankrupt right now. It's also fraudulent too. Steve Ballmer invested $50 million in his company and he pretty much got scammed. The co-founder of Aspiration, Joe Sandberg, he is right now facing 14 years in prison, or he's already sentenced to 14 years in prison for fraud. And he scammed people out of $248 million. That is a crazy amount of money. But because of all these investigation stuff going on right now, the trade is on hold. The Raptors wanted to put a hold on this because punishments for Kawhi, it could be fines, losing draft picks for the Clippers, and voiding Kawhi's contract. Because of this trade, the Raptors would be involved with the punishments if any of these happen. So as of right now, they could back out of the trade if they want. So they could be like, no, we don't want the trade to happen. You guys could keep him and we could keep our picks and Grady and Brandon Ingram. But but yeah, this is kind of crazy. It is honestly getting annoying. Before the season started, this thing was pretty big, and there was just more updates about this. And now there's a second investigation with the Clippers and Kawhi. The Clippers were were accused of possibly covering personal expenses for Kawhi, but not reimbursing them. So the punishments they are kind of unclear for that, but I'm pretty sure it would be something like losing draft picks and fines, something like that with the punishments with aspirations stuff. So, what do you guys think about this? And NBA commissioner, he recently talked about this during the summer league. He was saying that it's taking a lot longer than he hoped it would be going, and he hopes that this ends before this upcoming season starts. But now the NBA has to deal with another investigation with the two stuff with Kawhi, the two things with Kawhi, because of the Gary Trent Jr. stuff, after he signed that new contract. So hopefully that's not a distraction to keep this investigation going because I want this trade to happen, honestly. Like I absolutely love Kawhi. And I wish things were better with him, but he was a great player. Maybe the greatest player to ever be a Clipper. But possibly. But I don't think any of this is going to happen. Ballmer, I trust Steve Ballmer. I trust Lawrence Frank. I trust everything that the Clippers said here. And they have pretty much denied all of the allegations. And they have claimed that they have done everything right. So what do you guys think about this? And if there's any updates about it, we'll talk about it more next week. And we'll talk about this last Clipper game too. And then we'll talk about how pretty much a lot of the Clippers in this summer league team have done. So we'll talk about this more next week, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.